Hello everybody, this is market update February 4th, 2023. Let me show you some indicators. I found a new indicator called machine learning. I think it's a good one if you want to use this one. Machine learning Lorentzian classification J.T 1231. It's pretty good. When you click on it, it takes a bit of time and shows you some details here. You can go to settings. I usually trade manually, so I don't need this graph here. It shows some numbers here. It's based, like, if the market is going down, it shows negative numbers and gives you buy and sell signals, which I really like. I like to do 1 hour trading on US 100, based on my other short videos, how I use US 100 to trade TQQ. So this one is pretty accurate. I don't need these numbers, so I'm gonna go and remove some of these bar colors and prediction values, and then use this going forward. Other indicator I use is this one, which is 10 in 1 MA. In my daily updates, I only use 50 SMA, but I like to keep an eye on 200 SMA and then 20 and 50 EMAs. So you can use this as well and color code it as you like. Okay. And then this is also the last one, which is momentum indicator. I use 5 in 1. If you type 5 in 1 in indicator tab, I like RSI and MACD. Combine these, and yeah, it shows both MACD and RSI. It's good. Okay, so guys, so let's start with VIX. VIX this week basically showing some divergence on RSI. If I take a look at, let's try an arrow. RSI is showing some divergence. And why don't we, let's do this, because I can only use, I'm using a free version. Let's get rid of this indicator and let's try PPO. That will give you some good analysis of how market is doing. So we'll go with PPO. So we'll use RSI and PPO to get some idea, and then now let's get rid of MACD for now. Okay. All right, so you can see divergence on RSI and divergence on PPO. So looks like it's going to bounce, but thing is, we're going down. So below 20 is a bullish scenario. I do expect big VIX to bounce at some point. It can happen anytime, but look at previous instances where we are now. VIX can even go lower to like 14 or 15, and it looks like VIX wants to touch 16. So yeah, there could be a bounce coming after touching 16. So be careful. The RSI and PPO is suggesting on daily that we're expecting a bounce. So keep an eye on that. If VIX bounces, then that means US 500 and US 100, which is S&P 500 and NASDAQ, will go down. Okay, guys. So on US 500, which is SPY, there is a trend line on daily. You can see like this. Okay. And we are above. So blue is 200 SMA, red is 50 EMA. We are above everything, and it looks like it's making a bull trend. 200 cross 50, so we already had a golden cross a couple of days ago, which is a very bullish sign. I do expect, if we go to SPY, to show you something, there's a gap fill here on around 427 if you go to 1 hour time frame. Go back here, time, it's happened a while ago. So, okay, here. So if you look at here, on 1 hour time frame, there is a big gap here. Okay, there are actually two big gaps. One big gap is around 421.45. Another big gap is around 427.3. This gap was filled, so I'm not going to put this. So this gap here, 427.3, if I go to daily, this is where I got this this big gap. So I do expect SPY to touch that before we go down. So what I'm thinking, this gap is from here, from Friday's close, around say around 3.62%, not that bad. So it could happen next week. So be mindful of that. So what I am thinking, I do expect Let's try to find the indicator path. So I think what's happening next week is we're gonna grind higher, fill this gap, okay, and then come back either to touch this trend line, most likely touch this trend line in sometime end of February, beginning of March, and then kind of go higher again, okay. So this is what my scenario is. So for now, let's focus on next week. I do think we can easily fill this gap. Now, if we do go down, let's go to US 100. There's this trend line, or we can look at SPY. So there's this trend line. If we do go down, so you can use this trend line, okay. Then you go to hourly, and then go to auto. You can see we can. This is a trend line, so we could come here around 407 and then bounce. Okay, so be mindful of that. US 100, same thing. If I go to 1 hour trend line, we're going up. One thing to note is on hourly we have some. I don't think we have divergence, lower half prices, so it's okay. Looks like we are losing a bit of momentum. But if I go to Qs, which is US 100, you can see we made a high. This is not a high, but looks like we're losing a bit of momentum. So even if we go down, look for this trend line on 1 hour. You can see the tags here, here. It can go there, it can go here, and then it can go back. So, okay, so still everything is bullish. That's what I'm expecting. Tesla. So there are a few big gaps here on daily on Tesla. I'm personally in this trade. There's this gap here around 263, and then there's this slight gap around 237. If you go to 1 hour time frame, you can see it. There's huge resistance here. Looks like we're above it, so we can get rid of this for now. But this whole zone here, uh, okay, this whole area here, say it like this thing, or very hard to get out. You can see you can drive a zone. So it was right. It touched here, finding a lot of resistance around 200. So this whole area here, I'm expecting either to Tesla to grind a bit here, uh, or maybe go down a bit. And then if we do go down, use this trend line. You can make a trend line here. You go down, you can make some kind of a trend line here like this. So if we go down, we can touch 175 and then bounce. So we'll see how it goes, but this thing went up really fast from lows to where we are now, almost 87% profit, very, very fast. So it won't be bad if we consolidate a bit and then bounce. So that's good. US 30, US 30 is kind of consolidating. If I take a trend line, if I use a trend line like this, right, and then if I use another trend line from the bottom, so it's like making a wedge, and it's getting a lot of energy here. So usually the target of wedge, if I take the last 2 points, and if I take and move here, depending on where we break, let's say we break from here, we could reach around $36,000. Okay, so keep in mind on that. This is US 30, which is Dow Jones. IWM is looking really bullish, guys. Let's see here. IWM, I'm trying to see if we have any gaps to take care of. It filled this gap. There's a resistance around 202, so keep in mind 202. It might it could go to 202 in a hurry. Again, you can use a trend line if next week next week we go down a bit. Sorry about that, guys. We can always touch this trend line and then bounce, so keep an eye on that. Also, natural gas dipping like tomorrow. Okay, keep going down. PPO is showing, you can see blue is showing pointing downwards. Still a lot of selling, guys. 1 hour do show divergence. Look at this, there's a divergence on PPO and RSI, but I don't know, guys, when it's gonna bounce. It can bounce any day now. Okay, be careful. The one thing to note, if I go to UNG, which is ETF, which is not leverage ETF, go on daily, starting to make a lot of gaps. There's a gap here at 14, gap at 17, gap at 19, 20. So eventually all these gaps will be filled, but it's going to be a long time. So if I go to like the top gap, it's 139% up. If I go to other gap, it's 72%. So be mindful of that. Bitcoin is consolidating here like a flag. It can break higher anytime. If next week if we see some bounce, then like there's a flag here. If it breaks, we can easily go hit around 26,000. Okay, keep in mind. And Ethereum will go with that. Oil dumped really hard. It tricked investors on Friday. So what was happening was there was a trend line here on Friday. Look what it did. So on Thursday it closed above. On Friday, look at what this guy did. Went above and then crashed. So look at this, what they did. They went above 50 SMA, and then they crashed it. Okay. So what we can expect is a little bit of bounce on Monday. So if I go to path, it can go bounce here and then fail. Okay. So be mindful of that. And dollar is picking up bit. If I draw a trend line here, like a white trend line, something like this, it's not really a clean trend line, but there are some tags 1, 2, 3 here, and dollar took a bit, broke out. It looks like a breakout, but if it goes back under it on Monday, Tuesday, then it's going to be a fake out. Gold is diving, guys. It kind of went 2.4%. So all gold miners are like really dumping really hard. But there is some support here around 1844, and also there's a lot of support around 1719. Also, if I pick it up here around 1800 zone. So if we go down, that's going to be a very good buying opportunity for another big bounce. Okay. And that's about it, guys. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. I'm sharing daily updates on how I'm trading US 100 with TQQQ. And just to show you US 100. So we are right on Friday. I only trade during market hours. On Friday around 4 p.m. we closed right on the trend line. So I'm not going to close this trade. As of now, I bought TQQ on this candle around lunchtime on January 31st, and as of now I am almost 13.5% in profit. Okay, all right guys, thank you, have a good one, bye.